What's up guys, welcome back. Today we're back in the kitchen with another highly requested recipe. And honestly, I was a little reluctant to do this one because I'm kind of a purist when it comes to my ribs. I like them on the smoker with some barbecue sauce. But today we're gonna throw them in the deep fryer. I'm gonna make a homemade barbecue sauce that's out of this world. You're gonna love it. Before we get into all that, please take a quick second to subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that bell to enable notifications as well. All right guys, meet me in the kitchen, let's make it happen. First things first, let's take a look at these ingredients. The star of the show today is these extra meaty baby back ribs. We're gonna cut them into individual rib bones. We're gonna marinate them or soak them, brine them, whatever you wanna say, in some buttermilk that's gonna help tenderize them even more. As far as our sauce goes, we're gonna make our barbecue sauce from scratch. Here's the ingredients. We got some brown sugar. We're gonna use the sauce from the Chipotle's. We got a little hot sauce, some apple cider vinegar, ketchup, some molasses, and some honey. All right, my friends, the very first step here is to go ahead and remove this membrane from the ribs. So I like to use a knife, whatever you got. This is a little BS knife that I got laying around, but you use a paring knife or a butter knife, whatever you got, something that you can get up under that membrane, get the party started, so to speak. Then I like to use paper towel for extra grip and just kind of get things started. So this is what you want to see here. Then grab it with the paper towel and it should pull right off. All right, so once the membrane is removed, we're now going to go ahead and cut these into individual rib bones. So no right or wrong way to do this, just follow along. You kind of got a guide right here, it makes it easy on you.
And this episode is sponsored by HelloFresh. This summer, HelloFresh is here to take the work out of eating well. Reach your goals with delicious calorie smart and protein smart lunch and dinner options, plus new vegan recipes too. Get farm to table quality with every HelloFresh box. HelloFresh's seasonal ingredients are picked at peak ripeness and travel from farm to your doorstep in less than 7 days for fresh flavor in every bite. Figuring out what's for dinner is not at the top of anyone's summer activity wish list. HelloFresh delivers mouthwatering chef-crafted recipes and fresh ingredients to your door so you can spend your summer doing whatever you want. And honestly, that's one of the things that I love most about HelloFresh is it really takes the guesswork out of what's for dinner. That's the #1 question me and my wife try to figure out is, hey, what's for dinner tonight? Let HelloFresh handle all of that for you. No matter your lifestyle, you'll always find delicious recipes on the HelloFresh menu like pescatarian and veggie. You can even swap proteins and sides to make a recipe just how you like it. So give it a try today. Go to HelloFresh.com and use the code MrMakeItHappen16 at checkout for 16 free meals plus free shipping. That's HelloFresh.com, code MrMakeItHappen16 for 16 free meals plus free shipping.
So we're gonna slice them into individuals with a little light dusting of all-purpose. You can use your favorite barbecue rub, whatever you have laying around the house. I'll go ahead and throw a quick little seasoned flour recipe down in the description box for you guys. But as you can see, he's got some nice meat on the bone here. That's what you want to see when you're shopping for your ribs. All right, so at this point, you want a nice big mixing bowl. We're gonna throw those ribs in there. I'm using buttermilk to brine these ribs. That's gonna do a couple things. One, the acid in the buttermilk is gonna help tenderize the ribs, make sure they get nice and soft, because these are gonna get fried, guys, instead of the low and slow method in the oven or the smoker or the crock pot, which breaks down the muscle fibers. We need a little help today because we're cooking them fast. So one way to do that is to brine. So I'm gonna hit them with a little bit of all-purpose, nothing too crazy. And then a couple tablespoons of hot sauce. And then I'm going to go ahead and coat them or cover them in this buttermilk. Give them a couple hours. 2 hours is probably the sweet spot. If you're pressed for time, you can probably get away with a 30-minute brine, but 2 to 4 hours is probably where you want to be to really tenderize these. So I said the buttermilk's gonna do two things. One, tenderize, which is important, we talked about that. But also, it's gonna help the flour really stick to the ribs. So that's what we wanna go for here. Whether you're using all-purpose flour at home, you can season it up with whatever you like. Or if you wanna purchase my all-purpose seasoned flour, you can grab that via the link in the description box as well. All right, my friends, it is barbecue sauce time. This is my go-to barbecue sauce right now. Honestly, I probably shouldn't be giving you the recipe because one day I'm gonna wanna sell this. But we're getting the party started with some butter, about a cup or so of ketchup, going down with some molasses. Check the date on yours. It's probably been in the back of the pantry for some months now, or years. After the molasses, we're going in with a couple tablespoons, maybe 1 tablespoon or so of apple cider vinegar. A few dashes of Worst Word in the World sauce. Our brown sugar. We're gonna break out the whisk and kind of mix to combine. Once you break up the clumps, you can kind of switch over to your spatula. Just bring that up to a simmer gently. You don't want the heat to be too high at this point. Then one of my secret ingredients is I like to add the juice or the sauce from the chipotles and adobo. Adds a nice smokiness to the flavor profile and a little heat. If you're a real savage and you want it extra spicy, you can add the actual peppers in there and blend it up. But I'm kind of a punk when it comes to the spice, so that's how I like to do it. Next up, we're going in with some honey. Quick reminder, guys, that all the specific measurements and ingredients for this recipe can be found in the description box below, so don't forget to check that out. Give that a mix and let that simmer for a few minutes. We're gonna season it with some smoked paprika and a little bit of my all-purpose seasoning. Just let that simmer for a while. It'll, kind of reduce a little bit, start to thicken up for you. Taste as you go and adjust the flavor to your preference. If you want it sweeter, you can add more honey or brown sugar. If you want it spicier, add a little hot sauce or a little bit more of the chipotles. All right, guys, I hate for this to feel like an ad, but this seasoned flour is nothing but the truth. I worked really hard on the recipe, so I'm excited to get you guys to try it. We're getting fantastic feedback so far. We're gonna add this to a mixing bowl. There we go. And literally don't need to add anything else to it. Now, if you don't have my seasoned flour, you can go down with some salt, pepper, garlic, onion powder, maybe some chicken bouillon powder, something to kind of add a little bit more pop to it, some sazon, something like that. Barbecue seasoning will work. Don't go too crazy if it's got a lot of sugar though, because it'll burn up. And then we're just gonna coat our ribs in that flour. We're not gonna go for a super thick coat, so just, don't go too crazy here. You just wanna make sure you get even coverage. And you can knock off any excess. You don't want any bald spots either though, so nicely coated rib. Let that hang out for a little bit. And just repeat that process until all of your ribs are coated in your seasoned flour. While your oil is coming up to temperature, you're looking for about 350 on the oil. With something like this, you could even go a little bit lower on the oil. Kind of slow cook them a little bit. So maybe anywhere from 325 to 350 at the max. You don't want to go above 350 on this recipe. All right, guys, so for this recipe, we're getting the oil up to about 325. Typically, I'd fry most things at 350, but something a little thicker, like these ribs, they need a little bit more time to cook, and we don't want them to get too dark. So 320, 325, that's what we're going for. I'm gonna drop the ribs on in there and get the party started. That's how we're looking after a few minutes. Nice golden brown color. Let them keep rolling. We're looking for about 180 on the internal temperature for these. Once they hit 180, we're gonna go ahead and pull them out. These bad boys look fried to perfection. Oh man, look at that. All right, guys, so we're gonna add our fried ribs to a mixing bowl and just coat them in this beautiful sauce that we've made. Jesus. Let's give them a little toss. That, my friends, is fried ribs. I guess this is the part where I say brace yourself for a trademark money shot. Say it with me, guys. Looking good. The only thing left to do, my friends, is dig in here for a taste test. But before we do that, please take a quick second to subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that bell to enable notifications as well. This might take a day or two off my life, but we're gonna give it a taste. I was wrong, they're delicious. Oh man.